Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show. It is time for After the Whistle's Gone, or the final whistle. I don't know. I think it's the final whistle, actually. It's a brand new show starting on a Monday at 8 o'clock. The Before the Whistle Bros gang just getting together and obviously reviewing the weekend's games and just having a bit of a chat so that it's not all in on a Thursday and it's all fresh in the memory. Before we do go through the games, let's go around the houses. We've got Mr. Lachlan? Is it Lachlan?
Yeah, close enough. Yeah, Lachlan. Yeah, Lachlan. How did you know?
Yeah, it's nice that. We've got Lachlan back from Greece. How are you doing, mate? How was your holiday?
Yeah, mate, very good. Can't really remember much of it, to be honest with you. Yeah, a lot of alcohol, but yeah, it's all good, mate. It's all good. Back in rainy old Leicester, well, rainy old England. So, yeah, good to be back, though. As I was at the airport waiting to come back, the game was on and I managed to watch a bit of it. So, yeah, I mean, we'll talk about that. So, but yeah, I'm buzzing.
I was absolutely buzzing with that result as well, but I can't lie, because Oscar, for me and you, football at the minute's not very great, is it? So
no,
we take our
it's not,
wins,
mate.
So.
It's not brilliant at the minute, but yeah, it was a small win, wasn't it? You know, the fact Harry Maguire has gone to Leicester, his former club, and he's cost Man United all 4 goals. It just makes it even better, doesn't it? I mean, just makes it even better that happens.
Did you see the guy's write-up that I tweeted out? The guy's rating.
Oh, it's brutal, wasn't it?
Yeah.
If he'd have been sent off, is the only way it could have been possibly been worse, is what they thought. 1 out of 10.
I know, he said
strong
like,
words.
Yeah, great though. I think fair play for someone to do that, man. To be fair.
I think we always criticise the media of not being honest and saying it as it is. But that, to be fair, he'll get criticised, the writer of that, saying, you can't have a go at a footballer like that, this and that. And you're thinking, no, be honest, say it as it is, and you got to respect that, haven't you?
Yeah, 100%, mate. I couldn't agree more. Corey, another away win for the Hammers, smashing it, mate. How are you doing? You look very tired, bro.
Mate, I'm knackered, but we are going through this because when you beat Everton 1-0 and it's going to be one of them games, you're like, do you know, Moyes hadn't beaten Benitez since 2006 going into that. And so they're just a huge bogey team. But yeah, I think now we've got one of the best away records in the...
I seen a tweet with all these greens and a few ambers and I was like, wow, that is quite a record.
Well, we'll get onto it in terms of like the actual game itself, but just to get that result, I think even early doors is quite impressive for us. And now we've got a Sunday game. It's 5th versus 6th already, London derby. Mate, it's a big week.
Yeah, man. I'm buzzing for you, Corey. I can't lie. Every time I see you doing pulling out the wins, it's good, and buzzing for locks, and we'll get on to Leeds United, Southampton a little bit later on, but yeah, I'm not looking forward to it if I'm being honest. But let's start off with Saturday, the early kickoff. Liverpool battered Watford. We were speaking on Before the Whistle Blows, me and Corey, and I think Corey did go big. I think he went about 3-0. I can't remember. Lee, if you're watching, you've not done the scores, you need to sort it out, bro. But I thought it'd be a little bit tighter. New manager bounce and all that. I still thought Liverpool would win, but I thought it'd be tighter. But Corey, man, they battered them 5-0.
No, I thought it was going to be an annihilation, mate. And quite rightly, it was absolutely... Watford are shocking. I know they were bad against you, but like when you come up against Liverpool and defensively, it's absolutely woeful. And I guess if you're going to put a positive spin on that, Mo Salah was, again, it's just absolutely out of this world, mate. The assist for the first is just different class. And the goal, again, he's on another level. I tweeted out, I said, this is just getting stupid now. He's dropping back.
So who was it the other week? Who was it who said Benzema was better right now? And I'm not having it now.
It was Matt. It was Matt.
Oh, was it Matt Hayes? Right,
what? They're different players anyway.
I know, but I said, is he
player
the best in the world? And Matt said, no, I'm Benzema. But
hang on a minute. Best in the world.
Right now,
after 8 games.
After 8 games of this season.
You don't think Salah is right now? Or am I getting
overall, is Salah the best player in the world right now? He's top
form.
2. On form, yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Right.
You know who I'm going to say is the best in the world. You know who I'm going to say is the best player in the world.
Like he's now the best footballer in the world.
Okay, all right, that's what I thought you were saying then. That's what I thought you were saying.
No, period. No. I'm just saying.
In fairness to Matt, that would be my top three: Messi, Salah, Benzema. Salah's probably the best on current form.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty fair to say. But the thing is, with Liverpool, it's not just Salah who's scoring at a ridiculous rate at the minute. Mane's had an unreal start to the season, gone massively under the radar. Tell you, my fantasy football team will tell you that. And Mane's bagging points. Him and Salah. Firmino is obviously gone massively under the radar. The fact he scored a hat-trick, the fact he took Jota back out of the team and fought back for his place, It's unbelievable, that front three. Absolutely unbelievable. And to be honest, I think it's definitely the best in the league. There's no doubt about that. And it's getting back to the level that it was at. So Liverpool, terrifying to play against at this moment in time. I'm just kind of glad we've played them when we did. We still got beat 3-0. But I tell you what, if Mane had his shooting boots on that day, that day when they beat us 3-0, it could have been similar to that Watford game. But the thing with Watford is, under Ranieri, first game, and Locks will tell you this, the first thing you expect is a bit of organisation at the back. Minimum is what you expect, to make it quite difficult for Liverpool, but easy from minute 1 to 90, wasn't it?
Yeah, and Corey, I know I'll come to you in a sec, Locks, but Corey, we were discussing it, and I mentioned about Danny Rose, looking like he's put on some weight. Did you see him?
Yeah, mate. He was getting pieced up, wasn't he? He didn't fancy it. So, but that's what, the Ranieri thing. On principle, I've said that it will take a couple of games, I think, for him to implement it. But because of where Watford have been, because of how they've played, and then you come up against Liverpool to get that right first time, I was probably a little bit surprised in terms of their defence and sometimes how high their line was against Liverpool. That was a little bit risky, but it will take time. If it doesn't, it will be out. Did anyone see Fabio Cannavaro, by the way, in the crowd?
He was in the crowd, wasn't he? It was a bit of
I think he was going to come on at half time.
It would have been all right, wouldn't it? It would have been an improvement, to be fair.
Yeah. I tell you what. No, I won't say what I was going to say about Leeds and Fabio Cannavaro, but
Yeah, but there you go. So Locks, Liverpool, I know you haven't seen much with you being away. Obviously, they've battered Watford 5-0. Are they your favourites now, do you think, for the title? It seems to me, I don't know if you guys agree, that this... We were discussing before, Locks, at the start about how there'll only be a couple of points in it between 4 teams, but I'm already seeing a little bit of a gap in terms of quality with the likes of Liverpool and City.
Yeah, I said a couple of weeks ago, unfortunately, I think Liverpool are going to win the league because I've got a bet with someone that they Leicester would have finished above them. So that starts going out the window.
Right from rivalry
that's
side,
shocker.
That is a terrible shout.
Locks, can I just say again, Locks, that was a shocker. And you had the chance to cash out. He gave you the chance to cash
He's still
out.
giving me the chance now.
Take it. Take the chance. Just take it. Just do it.
Well, we'll see. I'm not taking it. I'm going to the end. You never know what will happen now. But I think Chelsea, mate. I think Chelsea is still gonna push them. I think Chelsea will push them. But yeah, mate, they're a class above at the minute. I think Salah, he's the best. I don't know if you've been seeing this that podcast. I don't know what they're called. The big guy who's been saying that Salah's a fraud. Have you seen the clips of it? I don't know if you've seen it.
When he called him the Egyptian fraud. Yeah, the Chelsea fan.
Yeah, mate. And he's
a Chelsea fan was that? Was that a Chelsea fan?
Yeah.
Imagine my shock. Imagine my shock at that. Chelsea. Chelsea that got rid of Kevin De Bruyne and had to spend 95 million to bring Lukaku back. They're calling Salah a fraud. Sounds about right to me, to be honest. Sounds about right.
I think he said Hazard and Bale were both, twice the players Salah will ever be. But I mean, he's by far on form. You could argue technically, but at the minute on form, the best in the world. And if he can keep that up throughout the whole season, and Mane, obviously, as you said, chipping in the goals, looking at a better player than last year, then mate, I think it's going to be difficult for anyone to stop them, even Man City. I think Man City wish they went and bought a striker. I wish they got Harry Kane. So, and I don't even think, with how Liverpool are playing, mate, I don't even think that would have kind of put them giving them the edge over Liverpool with how they're playing. So yeah, mate, it's a tough one, but obviously we're so early on in the season, but I can't see anyone other than Liverpool at this moment in time winning it. So. And dismantled Watford. Mate. I don't get the Ranieri appointment. I think I don't know, mate. I think he's going to struggle. I mean, this will probably be his last his last job in the Premier League. But I don't get the appointment. I think just a bit like Ronaldo, mate, this season. It's not going to be as good second time round or third time round for Ranieri now. So, yeah, I think it was a poor appointment. I know people will argue, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm banking on Watford staying poor because in my head I'm starting to prepare myself for a bit of a dogfight, and I'm thinking Norwich and Watford are gone. That means there's only one spot left. So I'm just preparing my mental thinking, okay, so it's only one spot we need to stay away from. I hope Ranieri doesn't turn it around at Watford and they start to get some results.
I think he's gone. I think he's gone before Christmas, mate, Ranieri. Honestly, I do. Yeah, I do, mate. I just don't. I don't see him having that much of an effect there, and you know what they're like. I don't think they're going to change the ways. They're going to keep sacking, and yeah, I can only see relegation for them, to be fair. But
fingers crossed, mate. Fingers crossed. Sorry, Watford fans, if any of you are watching this.
I think they've got some good players though, Watford. Sarr, Dennis, and JUSTJOE, I think it was up top. They probably should do it. They should probably should give it a bit of a fight. But
yeah, Sarr started like a house on fire. No, I get
it's not rubbish. It's not.
No, I get you, right? But then he came up against Leeds United, did nothing against Liverpool. And I think the thing is
2 games.
No, I get it, right? I do. But what's the madness is for Sarr to be able to move on. I didn't actually realise this, but Watford paid like 35 million for him.
Yeah.
So they're going to want to recuperate some sort of cash. Like if someone comes knocking on the door, they're going to have to take a loss. I can't see anyone paying 35-40 million for Sarr. Can you, Oscar?
How old is he? Is he younger than Rafinha? Is he like 23, something like that? Say if he's 23, I think it depends how he finishes the season, really. But he's good enough for the Premier League. There's no doubt about that. There's no way he shouldn't have dropped down to the Championship last season. To be honest,
23.
Yeah, he won't drop down to the Championship. Someone will pay it. Newcastle might look at him and think he might be a good option to have on one side, and your man Saint-Maximin on the other.
Telling you, I keep saying it, man. I was watching the Firm last night. I was watching the Firm last night, a new show on Grizz's channel. You know, Grizz, the Liverpool fan, and it had Grizz, Saeed, Big Steve, and Lee Gunner on, and they were talking about Alan Saint-Maximin and Lee Gunner. He agreed with me, and I didn't know whether or not that was a bad thing. I was a bit like, oh, okay. But Lee Gunner, they were having this debate about Alan Saint-Maximin, and one thing I'm going to say is, right, as Newcastle improve, I think we'll see Alan Saint-Maximin for what he is. At the moment, no, serious, bro. This is where my head's at. Like, he's a jewel in a rubbish, in a load of tosh, right? If you improve the quality, I think we get Adama Traore vibes.
No, I think you get better players around him. I think he chalks up assists.
Do you think it'd be better?
Honestly, I swear to you.
I think about the same.
I rate him that highly. I just think he's class, mate. And I actually had that conversation where if West Ham were offered him, even with the fact that he won't track back, you see that yesterday, I'd be like half tempted. Because players like that come around in a blue moon to get you off your seat, and they can create and they can do things. But I've seen enough of Newcastle to think that if they could get Callum Wilson there, they could bring other players in, that he'll start chalking up assists. That's what I think. But
yeah, possibly, mate. That's what I mean. I guess time will tell on how that works. But while we're talking about Adama Traore, let's do Wolves. Let's do Wolves versus Aston Villa. Obviously, Aston Villa 2-0 up, gets to the last 10 minutes. And Oscar, when I was watching that, like the highlights, it proper gave me Kamar Roof vibes when we beat them 3-2, because the way that Neves, etc., all ran out of the away end and that, and it was just what a turnaround. And as a Leeds fan, knowing we've got Wolves at the weekend, that's now 3 wins on the bounce for them. And they started off poorly. They brought Hwang Hee-chan. They've got so much going forward, and I am really worried about Saturday. But how impressed were you with that for a comeback, mate? You know, in the Black Country Derby as well. It's huge, man.
Yeah, massive. I think Wolves, I know they had the poor start, but I think they were a good team then. You can see what Man United game's the one that really sticks out in my mind when De Gea's made 3 or 4 world-class saves. They've always been a good team. I think there was no doubt they were going to bounce back from that bad start. I think Bruno Lage has done a really, really good job. I think the thing with the Nuno was they were solid, they were a pretty settled team. They're pretty steady 7 out of 10 team. But I think now they actually play really entertaining football. Neves, I think it's gone up another level under Large. I think obviously got Raul Jimenez, still not fully at it yet, still not fully fit. But once he gets scoring, obviously got Neto to come back in. But even with the players they've got, they're doing bits. They score goals, and they press really well as well. To be fair, they're really, really good front foot team now. So difficult game for us on Saturday. There's no doubt about it. And to be honest, if it is a game, if we get a result in that game, I think it'll be decent for us. Just to stop the rot a little bit. It's not a game I'm looking at and thinking we've got to win that, because I think Wolves will be top 8 for me. I really do. I do think that. I think there's enough balance and quality to them. I think they'll be top 8 for me. Wolves. I think they're 8th now, aren't they? Now already.
I can't see the league table in front of me.
They're in the top 10 now. I think they have shot up that table anyway. But I think just to go to Villa as well. Obviously, Villa. It's hard to say if they're missing Grealish per se, but I think defensively they've not been quite as good this season. I think Cons has maybe not been quite as convincing. I think there's always been questions about Mings. They're trying to play a back 3 system with Courtney Hauser in there as well. Hauser and Mings, you just always feel like you can get at that for me, no matter what team you are. Obviously, Target and Cash, great going forward, but I've never been the most convinced by them defensively, especially Target. So I think Villa will have a lot of games like that this season where, 1 week they'll be brilliant. The next week something crazy like that will happen to them. I just think it'll be very much, 1 week win.
We know a lot about Dean Smith. Do you think in order for Aston Villa to, because they've got huge backing and stuff, do you think there's a case in order for them to take that next step that Dean Smith would have to move on? Or do you think
it's hard to say? Because they're trying to play like with 2 up top. They're trying to play Watkins and Ings up top. And I think their best player isn't even playing at the minute. I think Bailey, Leon Bailey is absolutely superb, to be honest. I think he's an outstanding footballer. But if they're going to persist with 2 up top, I'm not sure how they can get him and Buendia into the same team. So I think he's got a bit of an issue there, Dean Smith, to an extent. I highly doubt they'll sack him, though, to be honest, unless results really drop off. I just expect Villa to have a similar season to last season, where they beat Arsenal away 3-0, absolutely brilliant, and then they'll struggle to beat Norwich at home, something like that. I just think that's the type of team they are. Without a Grealish in there as well, you just think, who's going to produce that moment of magic without Grealish there? Difficult to say. I think Buendia has been a bit disappointing. I've got to say that. I thought Buendia would be a real like-for-like replacement for Grealish. He's not really done the job. He's playing just behind Watkins and Ings. And even Danny Ings, to be fair, I think not
scored,
quite.
He scored at the weekend.
Yeah, not quite had that impact I thought he'd have, though. I thought he'd really, really, really get himself onto that 15, 20 goals a season. He might still do it. It's still early days, isn't it? But Villa, I thought would be better than what they are. But yeah, they're just average for me. Good 1 week, bad the next.
Definitely. Corey, out of these 2 sides, where they currently are and where you expect them to go, obviously you and Locks are both going to be competing for Europe, not top 4, but the rest of the spots. Who would you see out of Villa and the Wolves as your biggest rival, or do you see them even challenging up there? Because I agree with Oscar. Wolves are 11th. I've just had a look. If they continue the way they are, they genuinely could compete. That would be my opinion. But where are your thoughts, mate?
I think Oscar touched on Villa's inconsistency. That'll probably do them over a little bit. I think the thing is, like, when you go into transfer windows and obviously Grealish goes out, the expectation, you bring Bailey, Buendia in and Danny Ings, and you just expect them to start flying. And don't get me wrong, they are fantastic signings, and I do think they'll come to the fore. But replacing Grealish, even just in terms of how you play and getting that dynamic right, is going to take a while for them. So it's almost like you imagine they've built a team around him for 2 years, Grealish, and now he's gone. How can they adapt? But whereas I look at Wolves and I think they're still playing with wing backs, they're still playing with a back 3. They've gone back to what they're doing, but Bruno Laga's kind of done it in a way where defensively they're spot on, but also going forward, I see players like Neves and Moutinho, they're getting further forward. They're using their passing range a little bit more. I think Jimenez as well, you'll start to see him develop a lot of consistency. I see them as a closer challenger to us than Aston Villa currently. And I think what it showed for me with West Ham and Everton on Sunday was how tight the margins are. And I think you also look at Wolves, and they do have match winners. Jimenez, Adama Traore can change things up as well and keep it solid at the back. So, yeah, Wolves impressed me. Wolves impressed me even when they were losing, like the first 4 games where they weren't scoring, because it was inevitable that it was just going to kick in.
Yeah. Weren't they? They were top of the XG table whilst being bottom of the actual table, weren't they? Or something mad like that at the start.
And the mad thing is as well, I know Podence has come back, but you've got Neto to come back. Trincao didn't play the other day. So in terms of attacking options, they're actually quite heavy in that sense. So yeah, they would worry me. They actually do a little bit. Adama always worries me, mate, when he turns up.
This is the thing. Like, I know I hammer him. And I hammered him last time we played him last season and he went and scored. It was a lucky goal, but he went and scored. But I think the worry is that Elland Road, they're better than they were last season. And up against Leeds United, Traore is amazing because he just breaks that mantle and it just all opens up. And if we're not careful, we could be on the end of a pasting on Saturday, and that's no joke. So I am really worried about Wolves.
You know what?
I just look at that game and just think Neves and Moutinho, as Corey said there. How do we stop them in terms of can we compete with that technically? We've got to find a different way to play. Maybe we've got to be a little bit more, not so much. We might have to be a bit more of an off the ball team. We might have to sit back a little bit more against them and just say, look, Neves and Moutinho, we go toe to toe against them. It's going to be a really long afternoon because we know how good they are. You know, Moutinho's in the right system. Moutinho could play till he's 40 for me. He's absolutely brilliant technically. Yeah. So that's going to be a really tough game that on Saturday. If we can get somewhere from that, I think it'd be a big boost for us.
Massive. Let's move it on and come straight to locks. Next game we're going to do is Leicester versus Manchester United. Absolutely buzzing, mate. I can't lie. I actually backed you. I actually went with the same scoreline as you, locks 3-1, because I thought Maguire was out at the time, and then we heard he was playing, and it actually was worse with him in the side. Like that guy who gave the rating said, it's not inconceivable to think had Eric Bailly played that Man United might have actually won this game because he was at fault for 4 goals. Like, first of all, how good is that for you as a Leicester fan, seeing how rubbish Harry Maguire was? And Soyuncu won me some money. He won me the money in the last fixture as well. I had him anytime goal scorer, and I put 5 on 65 quid. It's still though. It was a happy moment because we were terrible on Saturday. But talk us through the game. Talk us about Jamie Vardy. You were fuming with me and Corey that we didn't put him in our team of the season. You let us know when he scored. Talk to us, mate.
Well, I mean, where do you want? I'll start with Maguire, mate. I mean, yeah, I totally agree with the guy who left the review. I think Man United would have been better without him. I think he was. I mean, I heard people say he was rusty, he wasn't fully fit. Apparently, I think you could tell. You could definitely tell. I mean, that first one was an absolute clanger. Obviously, where the ball came out to him from De Gea, Iheanacho.
It's brilliant. Yeah, it's brilliant,
mate. Yeah, it's insane. I think it was the last one, wasn't it? Have you seen the video where he just stood still? You just let Daka pass, and Daka just
class,
run.
Mate.
Oh, mate, it is awful. It is awful. But yeah, it's comical. I love it, man. I absolutely love seeing Maguire. This is probably the second best thing. It was the second best thing I ever saw involving Maguire. And number one was when he got banged up in Greece. That was probably number one. But yeah, this is
that's sore, isn't it?
That's a bit hard.
Never leave Leicester. See what happens.
He gets so bitter. It's Mahrez, it's Chilwell. Mahrez won Leicester a title, and he still gets called, a snake by Locks and that lot. You know what I mean?
To be fair, with how Maguire left, I wasn't that. He was respectful. To be fair, but. Yeah, it's just funny still, isn't it? It is funny. Yeah, mate. And look, this is it. I've been saying it since probably 3-4 weeks ago. I think the system that we need to play is this one, the one we set up against United. The 3 or the 5 with the wing backs. I think Rodgers hasn't set up like this season because Harvey Barnes is back. He was dropped on the weekend, and I think it was the right decision. He's not had the best of starts. Kelechi Iheanacho is one of the most informed players in world football this year, in this calendar year. I can't believe he hasn't got a Ballon d'Or nomination.
I think that's a bit of a hot take, that, Locks. I'm not going to lie.
Mate, have you seen his? Mate, have you seen how many goals he's actually? Mate, he has been sensational all season. Brendan Rodgers has been getting a lot of stick this season because of how much Ian actually contributed last season in the second half of it. He just wasn't playing, and it didn't really make much sense. And even when he came on off the bench, he made an impact. So, but it was really good to see us playing that way. Ricardo Pereira and Castagna, as the wing backs. I mean, going forwards, incredible. For Johnny Evans,
the goals, like the goals as well from both sides. There was some beauties.
Yuri Tillemans, mate. I mean,
did he mean it?
That is. Yeah, I mean, there was no one there. There was no one at the back post.
No, but I've seen. I'm not taking away from it, but I've seen a few times where Tielemans has played that ball into the far post. So I just thought maybe he's not even looked up. The technique's unreal, but I just thought I don't know if he meant it.
Going for that, mate. He meant that, but the world, mate. The world is different, as you can see. Johnny Evans, mate. Johnny Evans. As soon as he's in that back line, it's. We still conceded 2 goals. Don't get me wrong. I know that, but I think you can see it just calms Soyuncu. Soyuncu looks, twice the player he is when Evans isn't in the team. I think when you get, and Daniel Marty, obviously no offense to the guy, he's been qualities this season when he's played, but when you throw Wesley Fofana back into that back three as well, mate. I mean that's a saucy back line, mate. So yeah, I think Jamie Vardy, as we spoke about, I mean, back to his absolute best. He's been quality this season, especially on Saturday. Still scoring the goals, top goal scorer along with Salah. So I mean that finish, mate. Oh my God, one of the best.
Unreal.
Probably in the top 5, top 3 maybe goals he scored for us. But I'm really gutted he didn't do the Ronaldo celebration, mate. Because I think that'd have
been right up his street, wouldn't it?
I think if Andros Townsend hadn't have done it a couple of weeks ago, mate, he would have done it. But mate, I think we looked like a completely different team than we have this season. We looked kind of back to our best. If it continues, I'm not too sure. But interesting one. I don't know if you've seen it. Has come out in the last 24 hours or so. Brendan Rodgers over the international break sat the team down, looked at just old clips, old videos and stuff from last season. James Maddison was a big talking point, apparently, of this meeting, trying to kind of get him back to his best. And he did look good. He looked better. He looks a lot better on Saturday. So, yeah, hopefully he can kind of get some form back and kind of turn into the player he was 12 months ago. But it's definitely good seeing a Jose Perez who is... he's a number 10. He's not a winger. He's better in that number 10 role. And he came on and got 2 assists. He played really well as well. So as long as there's someone there, I think kind of putting pressure on Maddison. Knowing that Maddison, you're not going to start week in week out if you're not performing. That's really important. We spoke about it, obviously. Oscar mentioned it a few weeks ago. Could we bring someone in? I think we do still need to bring maybe a number 10 in, a creative player. But for now, Perez is looking good. So, yeah, mate, it's I don't know where we're going to finish this year, mate. It could be an inconsistent year. I'm not sure, but I think with this system, with the 3 at the back, the wing backs, Vardy, Iheanacho up top, I think it definitely kind of makes a difference. Really, I think we put in a lot of better performances when we're in that system.
Yeah, for sure. When you were saying you had them watching old clips, I just had like images of like Muzzy, is it, and Robbie Savage in that Waters kit.
Muzzy, is it, mate? Oh, ooh, Muzzy, is it?
Yeah,
legend.
Yeah, baller. Corey, Locks touched on there. Maguire.
Yeah.
Now, I was speaking to my friend earlier on, a Manchester United fan. He texts me out of the blue and says, how is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer still in a job? And, like Locke said, Harry Maguire, you can see, was clearly not fit. But there was still... surely, I don't know if a conversation... Can you play, Harry? Yeah, I'm all right, boss. I don't know. But ultimately, that's on the coach, isn't it? Like, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, how is he still in a job? But is he that vital? I don't know, to say, right, do you know what? I know you're not quite ready, but I'll play you anyway. And it's more egg on the face of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for me.
Yeah, it is. He didn't look fit. I actually look at it a bit like I thought Brendan Rodgers' game plan in terms of playing with two strikers and pressing on him was absolutely spot on, to be honest. And he nicked the ball off him in the first place. And I think Ollie's done this before. I think it was Everton, wasn't it, where he's rested a few players when he hasn't really needed to, and then he's got egg on his face again. And that's the thing, when you're Ollie and you're that out your depth tactically, you've got to make the right decisions in terms of personnel at least. And the fitness of Maguire is one of them. If he's not fit, and I do think he's very important for them when he does play, but again, in a game like that, with that intensity, with what Leicester brought, it was a bit naive. And even the midfield, to be honest, of Manchester United, I thought there was no. They went away from McFred, and now they're going to go back to McFred because that's how important they are. And the reason being is Manchester United, albeit it's not a balanced midfield, could get away with it if Ollie was a better coach, if there were things in there that you could see what he was doing. But he can't. So he has to go back to two defensive midfielders. He's so out of his depth. It's actually mad. It's actually crazy.
It's funny. Like, why? How has he still got a job? I genuinely do not understand it. Like, you guys no doubt will see. It's so funny for me, but the Man United fans that are like fuming, like I don't know if you've seen, obviously, Saeed, that had me in stitches, I can't lie. But there was also one where I did retweet it. It was like a space, Twitter space. And there's a guy who went, I want to eat the heart of this man.
But this is the thing, Joe. This is a bit of a myth because you hear it online and you hear Ollie out, and at the games they're singing Ollie's at the wheel. It's a joke. Make your mind up of whether you want him there or not. It's so polarising. Like Sky Sports did an actual survey. 76% of fans wanted him in. So and now they want him out because he's lost the game. But when he brought Ronaldo, he was the best thing since sliced bread. It just doesn't. It's a fan base for you, mate.
Did Ronaldo even play?
The Ronaldo's caused a lot.
And he weren't even involved, Oscar. I don't remember seeing him at any point.
Ronaldo, in terms of what Man United needed, Corey's touched on it there. McFred is the midfield that gives them the most stability. But is McFred going to win you a title when you've got De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Kante, Fabinho, Thiago, midfielders like that? It's not, you can't compete with that. So it was clear as day. They needed, sorry about this, Corey, they needed a Declan Rice, they needed a Bazuma, they needed someone like that, a Jude Bellingham. Let's not say that. Let's not say that.
Someone in that.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's clearly what they needed. And look, and Ronaldo.
Diddy, anyone really?
Anyone who's like a half decent 7, 8 out of 10 player, you know exactly what you're going to get from him week in, week out. But then you look at Ronaldo. Look, Ronaldo's a better player than Cavani. He's a better striker than Rashford. He's a better striker than anyone they've got. But really, in terms of the money they spent, would it not have been better spending it on an actual hole in the squad? They could have won the title if they had the rest of the team balanced with Cavani up front, if you ask me, or Rashford up front, or they had enough goals in that team to cope without Ronaldo. They did last season. Yeah. In terms of they almost won, trophies last season. But that midfield's cost them.
The same with Sancho, maybe as well, Oscar.
Yeah, I think they totally mismanaged Sancho. Like they played him in a totally different position to what he did at Dortmund. He was on the left at Dortmund week in, week out. They've now got him on the right. It is different. It's like when we put Rafinha on the left, he doesn't look like the same player. In my personal opinion, I think there's a big drop off from Rafinha when he plays on the left. I think it's very important that you get players in their best positions, and they're not doing that with Sancho. I think Solskjaer's been quite weak with Pogba as well. He obviously moved him into that midfield pivot. I mean, if it's not worked after 5 years, why is it suddenly going to work when you're playing against Yuri Tielemans and Ndidi? It's madness. It's madness to try and do that. But I've just watching Neville's analysis of it because, I wanted a bit of a smile. Before coming on. But he was saying there's two separate teams at Man United. There's the front five and then there's the back five. The two, they're just totally, there's so much space between them that it's too easy for teams like Leicester and that lot to play through them. And it's showing. It's showing the way they've dropped off since Ronaldo signs, because as good as what Ronaldo is, he won't press for you. So you're going to lose that from what you had with Cavani.
He got one of the worst pressing stats of any.
But he didn't press when his peak for Madrid. He always conserved his energy. It's what he did. So it can't be that big a surprise that suddenly it's too easy for teams to play around you. But yeah, it's not just him either. You got Pogba, Fernandes, they're not the most hard-working players. Greenwood's not the most hard-working
Pogba,
players.
you were fuming, actually. We had Pogba in the team of the season, didn't
over
you?
Bernardo Silva. Over Bernardo Silva. Behave.
Like, now it looks silly.
Yeah.
Now it does look silly.
Yeah,
but-
Now it looks silly.
At the
It looks
time,
silly.
It
Was
Oscar
not
was
all right.
fuming, you know.
It was
He
not
went,
all right.
for one
You
night.
were fuming, mate. God,
I was
dear.
fuming.
I gave you
Fuming with
more
that.
than everything.
I want to ask you all a question, right? So, Man United's fixtures: Atlanta, Liverpool, Spurs, Atlanta again, Man City, Watford, Villarreal, Chelsea. That's all the way, and then Arsenal. So it just continues, right? So even if we just look for the rest of this month, you've got Atalanta, Liverpool, Spurs, then into November, Atalanta again, City, Watford, Villarreal away, and Chelsea away. Does he make it through them fixtures, Locks?
Yes, I think he will. I don't think it's the right decision for Man United fan. You know, I don't think
No.
he should, but I think he will. I think he'll probably pick up 6-7 points maybe, and just paper over the cracks again. We saw it like back in the Man United days with like Louis van Gaal, when I think did they win the FA Cup or something? They papered over the cracks a little bit, and I think that's what will happen, mate. I think they'll pick up a couple wins, and it'll seem like if he lost every single one, then potentially, but I think
Potentially. If he lost every single one,
he should
potentially.
He should go, but I just don't think
Yeah.
they will sack him, mate. I just can't see it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think if he picks up two or three results, I think, you know, it's going to be exactly like it has been for the past 12 months, mate. I think it will just be paper over the cracks, and it will just continue, mate. Unfortunately for Man United fans, fortunately for us, because I'm sure we all love watching every minute of it.
Apart from you, who thinks it's a story, man.
Oh,
fairy tale.
I tell you what, though,
Not anymore.
it's suddenly it's getting into territory where you're thinking, "Ooh, their top four might be a little bit more. It might be a little
Do you
challenge."
think
You
he
know,
makes it through them fixtures, Oscar? That's some tough fixtures.
the only thing I'll say is that against the better teams, he tends to play on the counter
Yeah.
a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I think with Rashford, Greenwood, Ronaldo, that's a terrifying counter attack. I'm not going to lie. It wouldn't surprise me if they went and got a result against Liverpool at home.
Yeah.
You know, obviously they'll be desperate to not lose at home to Liverpool. You know, in that kind of sense. So it wouldn't surprise me if they pick up a couple of results that they shouldn't do. But it'll be like the Villarreals, the Atlantas that will cause some problems for me. I think it'll be those kind of games, and there's enough of them within that kind of fixture list for him to drop points. I just think when you've got Ronaldo there, we all know Ronaldo's influence at Madrid. He had that little bit of influence at Juventus. When you don't win a trophy with Ronaldo in your team, you don't tend to keep your job. That's what the stats have told us throughout Ronaldo's career. And I wouldn't be surprised if someone like a Zidane ends up a little bit like Tuchel last season at Chelsea. I think he gets past that run of games, Solskjaer. But it wouldn't surprise me if when was Lampard sacked? Was it just after Christmas? Something like that, wasn't it? I just see it going a similar way. It'll go around Christmas time. Someone like a Zidane, a Conte, maybe even a Simeone might come in, and then unfortunately. That's why I'm not getting too carried away. I'm not saying Ronaldo's been a complete flop yet, because you know what it's like. One of those could come in and quite conceivably win a trophy. You know, with that squad, you're not telling me Zidane, Conte, Simeone, someone like that. Any half decent manager is not getting that team pushing for a title.
Yeah,
Look at the team Chelsea. Chelsea started at Brentford. I don't think many of them would even get into Man United's starting team, to be honest. No, so yeah, unfortunately, I'm not getting too carried away yet. I'm just hoping Solskjaer picks up a couple of results. Like Corey said last season, he just about every single time he's under pressure, he gets himself out of it. 2 wins, maybe a win and a draw, just keeps that bit of momentum. But I'm happy he does it. He just somehow keeps himself in it every single time.
I think Corey, I don't know if you agree, because I agree with Locks. I don't think he's perceived as this is a legend. He gets so much backing from his mates in the media and all that sort of stuff.
That's annoying, mate.
If he didn't score, okay. If he didn't score in that Champions League final, he'd have been out of a job by now. He probably wouldn't even got the job.
100%.
He wouldn't if he didn't stick his leg out like he did. He wouldn't have even got the job. Let's be honest. Let's be totally real about that.
Yeah. I think the only way he does lose it, Corey, is if they get knocked out of the Champions League, which is conceivable that could happen.
Oh, I don't think he'll lose it if that happens, by the way.
Really?
I think he'll still. Honestly, I think he'll still have his job. I think it's about top 4 for them. Like I don't.
Yeah.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been so poor in the Champions League and really the Europa League when you look at the final for so long that if they were going to use that, they would have sacked him before then. It is just about getting to that top 4. I think Ronaldo is the biggest single reason why Ole might lose his job, because the pressure will start to mount. And even externally, you see people talking about it going, well, now you've got Ronaldo, now there's no excuses. And with United for a long time, it was, we haven't got a DM, we haven't got a right midfielder, we haven't got a striker, we haven't got a centre-back. Now, well, look, you've got nearly one of the most complete first teams. If you find a top-class DM in there is no excuse. It's just that strange thing at Man United where the board want him because he keeps everyone happy. The fans are still singing Ollie's at the wheel for some reason, even though they're sliding out of the top 4. But they'll have a protest about it next week. And it'll just keep going. But I will say that if he does lose a lot of these upcoming games, which conceivable that he could do, I struggle to see how they keep him in, because there's got to be a point where you're Man United and you go,
how can you spin it?
But I think he's one of the worst managers in this division. I genuinely think you could get a half decent manager, put him in that team, and it would be. Imagine if Brendan Rodgers.
Corey, you just have to ask yourself the question: if he was sacked tomorrow, right, and all the other jobs were available, I don't think any other team's going get Ollie in. They're not.
No, I know. That's what's mad. Like, he never had the resume anyway. He never. And he's actually, if anything's been given a huge leg up and a chance to actually establish this type of philosophy. Man United are 3 years down the line, and all I know about Man United is they counterattack. That's it. Take them out of it, press them a little bit, find their vulnerability, exploit their high line, and they're done. And every team knows how to do it. Do you know what I mean? It's nuts, man.
They're brutal. They are absolutely brutal, and I love every single minute of it. Right, okay, we're going to do some two quick fire ones now. Obviously, Man City beat Burnley 2-0. Surprised it wasn't 5. It's been 5 for the last 3 seasons in a row, I think. I actually went for 6 on the predictor, so that didn't really work out. And then Norwich Brighton was 0-0 as well, so another point on the board for Norwich. Next one we're going to do is, of course, Southampton versus Leeds United. I'm going to come, Corey. I know we were
therapy session coming in.
I know you've seen little bits. What are your thoughts, mate, on it before me and Oscar?
I can only talk because obviously I saw the highlights and it's different when you see the full game. But I just thought how open you were, how many chances Southampton had. I know it's part of the Leeds philosophy, but even watching on Match of the Day, the passing was shocking. It was almost like every misplaced pass was leading to a counter, and Southampton were just lapping it up. And it worries me for Leeds that you can lose a Rafinha, a Calvin Phillips, and a Bamford, and the drop-off seems quite big. And I think when you talk about Leeds in the philosophy, you expect people to take the mantle on a little bit and maintain a sort of level of consistency. But in particular, Calvin Phillips, every time he doesn't play for Leeds, that midfield is so open. So it just comes back to, I think you could deal with that Rafinha in certain games and you could maybe get away with Bamford, but I think Phillips, you just need him, man. And even look at the centre-backs. You still had Llorente in there, Cooper's in there, so they've started for you before. In fact, they're probably first choices. So it would worry me. It would start to worry me now. And Southampton aren't as bad as people say they are, but just from what I would expect looking out into Leeds, I'd expect the performance level to be a little bit higher than that.
Yeah, for sure. Locks, I know you didn't see the game and maybe watched a bit of highlights and all, but do you look at Leeds United and are you thinking we're in trouble?
I think it's going to be a long season. I think it's going to be a long season. I think you've got enough. I think you've got more than enough to really stay out of a relegation battle as such, kind of come in towards the end of the season. But yeah, I mean, obviously I didn't see the game, but yeah, I think you've got to be winning. Southampton are obviously a decent team, but you've got to be picking up picking up 3 points against Southampton. So yeah, I think it's going to be a long season for you, unfortunately, but I can see you staying clear of the bottom 3.
Yeah, it's really hard for me to do this, Oscar, because obviously I'm a positive fan. And I mean, the weekend, mate, was brutal. Like, I did a watch along for it as well, and it was tough. Like, it got to the point where I was swearing and that, and I do swear it. But what I'm saying is, normally when I'm watching Leeds, it's different. Like, I was getting physically like frustrated with players. You know, like they couldn't pass the ball 5 yards. At one point, last 10 minutes at first half, they had 88% possession.
Yeah.
And look, Southampton aren't a bad side. They're not. They're just not scoring a lot of goals. And you could argue, really, other than the goal they scored, although they carved us open loads of times, they didn't create. I don't know what their XG is, but again, XG to me sometimes flawed, because when I watch it with the naked eye, I'm like, I can't really remember any clear cut. But we were just diabolical. And I am a little bit worried. The reason being is because I said, wait till we get to 10 games. And now look, I had in my head Southampton as a bit of a banker. No disrespect, but as I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, right, which are the ones where I can think we can win? Right, Southampton, Norwich. The other two is Wolves and Leicester. Do you know what I mean? I thought we could beat Leicester on the run they were on. They've battered Man United, and I'm like, right, okay, they've turned the corner now. That's going to be rock hard. So I then think after 10 games, it's conceivable we might get 3 points. And I'm still convinced Norwich will beat us just because it's Leeds. Genuinely, mate, it's conceivable after 10 games, you know, we might have another point, 3 if we're lucky. And then it's like, wow, our fixtures after that are solid. So I am proper worried. My saving grace in the back of my head is like Norwich, Watford, they're going down. So there's only one spot. And look, Newcastle I'd put in there now, but now they've got the money. Nah, they'll be out of it. So I think Burnley, us, Southampton, maybe Palace. I know they started well, but you know they're getting beat now currently by Arsenal as well. So although they're playing nice stuff, they're not getting results, and it's a results business. Cliche and all that, but I'm a little bit worried, Oscar. Talk to me, man. Make me feel better.
Well, look, when we had a shot on target in the game for the first time under Marcelo Bielsa, in Marcelo Bielsa, I heard somewhere, again, that kind of data wasn't recorded when he was at Newell's, but certainly since data's been recorded, like by Opta and that lot, it's the first time in Marcelo Bielsa's career, I believe, that one of his teams hasn't had a shot in target. So clearly this was... It's one of those games where it didn't look right from kind of like the first minute. It looked like it was going to be a really tough battle for us. I think there was, in the first minute or so, Harrison's took a bit of a heavy touch, and you're thinking, ooh, that's normally a bad sign, because that never normally happens. But no, what I will say is I don't think Saturday is a game to judge things too much on. I wouldn't say I'm panicking because of Saturday, because at the end of the day, Bamford, Phillips, Rafinha all missing. Ayling missing as well.
This season we've not been good, mate. 5 minutes against West Ham, and 90 against Watford. That is it. That is it. That's the only time we perform, bro.
I disagree. I would disagree. But what I will say is,
when else?
I'll say second half against Everton, we looked good. I thought we really did have Everton pinned back. First half against Newcastle, we should be 3 up in that game, but then we completely but we can see this. No, look, there's bits from us where I'm thinking, could a Watford, could a Burnley, could a Southampton, no, maybe not Southampton, that's probably a bad team to use. Could a Norwich play as well as we did in those kind of periods of those games? Probably not. I still think Rafinha on the pitch, Meslier, Phillips, I think there's enough quality there. Bamford, if we can get him back into that team, in terms of not just because of goals, I just mean in terms of the pressing from the front. I just think when you've got...
Would you sell Rodrigo in January?
It's a difficult one. It's a difficult one.
Said no.
It depends. In terms, look, I think there's a lot of players you could say that about. If in terms of in current form, you'd struggle to make a case for them at this moment in time. But I think I've seen enough from Rodrigo in that run last season to say that there's a player in there. But he's got to seriously show it now. You know, he's been playing centre forward, which I think is his best position.
There's a player in there. He's looking at
there is a player. No, that's probably a bad word to put it, but you know what I mean. There's quality there to him. He even shows it in touches. You know, that West Ham first half, he showed nice little touches, and you're thinking, oh, you know, just a little bit more. That's what I think. I think there's a lot of players that you can say that about. There's a lot more to come from, and that's what I will still say. I think even Llorente hasn't started this season brilliantly. I just have that confidence that Llorente won't continue to play as bad as he did on Saturday. We saw how he played against Watford. I think Luke Ayling will, when he comes back into the team, I think he did need that. I think it's come. I don't think an injury ever comes at a good time, but I think if it did come at a good time, it was when it's come now for Ayling. He's got that little bit of a rest. I think he'll come back better. Stuart Dallas, you'd think surely he can step up a little bit, click. Maybe not all.
For me, Oscar,
but
Dallas.
not all of these players. Not all of these players will improve, but I think some of them will. That's the key thing. I think some of them will, and then you've got your consistent performers, your Meliers, your Phillips, your Rafinhas. I think there's enough quality there for me.
You know what, as well? I didn't listen to any of this when we were signing Dan James. Everyone talking about his final ball. I just didn't listen to it because I'm like, nah, Bielsa will hurt wonders. But my God, his final ball is woeful.
I wouldn't say woeful.
Against Watford, he was on the edge of the box and went to genuinely 5 minutes after I shit you not, I was saying to Sean, I still can't remember, or I still can't get my head round how he managed to cross it and end up nearly going out for a throw. And then one of the decent attacks we had against Southampton, he basically passed it back to the keeper. Yeah.
No, it's got to improve for me. I think personally, I'd still say Rafinha and Harrison is our best wing partnership for me. I'd still say James has got a bit of work to do. I know he started a couple of games ahead of Harrison. I just still think Jack's the man on the left-hand side. Just the fact that he can play off the touchline and it allows Rafinha to come inside a little bit more. And we've still got that width off the left and obviously Ayling or Shackleton overlapping. I just think you only have to look at Liverpool last season. It might be a bit of a boring thing to say, but you take Fabinho, this is just the equivalent of what we did. Fabinho, R. Phillips kind of thing came out. Yeah. You take Salah out, which is like taking Rafinha out for us. You take Firmino out, which is like taking Bamford out for us. You're not telling me, as good as Liverpool are, we know how good this Liverpool team is, they won't be impacted by that. We were impacted by it on Saturday. Now, look, if we are still struggling after Norwich, these next couple of home games with a full team, I would be a little bit concerned. But I still think that any team that's outside that top 6 or 7 who has their best players missing is going to be impacted on. Look at Villa last season when Grealish went out of the team. I think they won 1 in 13. I think.
I think that was against us.
It was against us, exactly. It was against us, but they didn't look half the team when they won that game. They didn't look half the threat going forward. And I just think for any team that's kind of outside that top 6 or 7, they're going to feel it if they have a key player missing. Even West Ham.
Let me ask you a question, Oscar. Let me ask you a question, right? So when we get to that 10 games, so we've got 3 games left. So we've got Wolves.
It's 2, isn't it? I think we're on 8 games.
No, till next international break then. Yeah, my apologies. So we've got Wolves, Norwich, and
Leicester. Leicester at home, I think.
How many points are we getting out of that?
It's hard because I've still got a Southampton game in my head, but we're better than that. We are better than that. We know we're better than that. If we can find some kind of happy in between Watford and Southampton game, I think we can beat Norwich. I'll say that much. If we're anywhere near our best, I think we beat Norwich. It's just all about the application in that game, just starting that game well against Norwich. I know they've got a couple of results. I'll say 4.
4. Okay, Corey.
I think that's a decent return.
As an outsider looking in, what are you saying?
I just can't see you getting wins against Wolves or Leicester, and I struggle to see where the draw. I think you'll beat Norwich. To be fair, you should beat Norwich. I think you're more than good enough. But 3 points, I think.
3 points. There's a lot in there as well. Harmony's on 1. I feel it. Look, so what do you reckon? I know we play your lot.
I'll give you 6, mate. I'll give you Norwich and Leicester, mate. I think,
I love that. I love that from Knox.
Mate. I can see it. Yeah. See, I mean, you're happy with 6 points, but
my name will be Ellen Road on Saturday if it don't go well. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And
What in
There's
terms of the
sections. There is genuinely sections, and I can't believe this. There is genuinely sections of our fan base, and you ought to be ashamed of yourselves. And if there's some of you in the chat, you ought to be ashamed of yourselves. After 8 games of this season, genuinely coming out of their mouths saying as Bielsa took us as far as he can.
Nah, I think it's like Corey said, though. I think it's like what Corey said. The Leeds United fan base will not turn on Bielsa. I think even if we lose the next, I don't think it's like, well,
you've seen it yourself.
There is, but it's like Corey said in terms of Man United fans on Twitter. I don't think there'll be any. There might be 1% of the fan base at Ellen Road on Saturday who are Bielsa out, but there's no one who's gonna. It's like Wilder at Sheffield United last season. You know, no one started chanting Wilder out, and I don't think we've got. I don't think we've got to that territory yet. I don't think we've got to that territory at all.
Play worst case scenario. Say you are in a relegation battle, right? For whatever reason, you just don't get it together. If you've still got Marcelo Bielsa, if you've still got that team, if you've still got Calvin, Rafinha, Bamford, you've still got Ellen Road, you will stay up. Like if it gets that bad, there is enough from Leeds. And let's be honest here, if you can keep those top 3 players in that side consistently, you can get a run of form, you find your rhythm. This is what we've been saying. Against us, you played us off the park for 30 minutes. You did all right against Liverpool at spells. It's just certain parts in certain games. It's just getting that consistently across the 90. Once you find that, and listen, it's tough in the Prem. Do you know what I mean? It's been a long summer. People have been in internationals. It's not easy. Rafinha's been off to Brazil and back again, so it's not. It is hard, but what I would say is that even if it is poor, you just have to stick with what you've got. It makes no sense. It would make no sense to get rid of.
How many times have we been able to put Rafinha, Bamford, Harrison on the pitch at the same time last season? We know how key they were last season. They scored. They combined for more goals than Salah, Mane, Firmino last season. That's the thing. Yeah, that's. I'm not saying the better, but yeah.
When we get to Thursday and the press conference comes, and if Bielsa turns around and goes, Bamford's back, Rafinha's back, Calvin's back, Wayman will be saying in his preview, "We're winning, man, we're back." Genuinely, it's just that,
Wolves are good though. Wolves are good. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that, bro. But it's just.
I still say the same thing. Just need to get a result against Wolves. Just get something against Wolves, and then you go into that Norwich game, and you're thinking, right, okay, there's a little bit less pressure on that Norwich game. You can get a draw against Wolves. You can beat Norwich. All of a sudden, you got 4 points out of 2. Then we're on 10 points then out of 10. Yeah. Then all of a sudden, you're thinking. I think it's just a fact. It's the start of the season. We started to look this way. There was as good as last season was. You can't tell me Brighton away in that game last season wasn't any different to what that Southampton game was. That was as bad for me. That was unbelievably bad, that game. It's just we're going to have the odd game like that.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm just going to say as well, like, no one's saying for 1 second that Bielsa's not exempt from criticism. You're allowed to criticise. I just don't agree with these people that are saying he's taken us, because it was only the weekend after Rafinha's had a mint international that everyone's going, what a guy. Look what he's done for these players. Look how he's turned. Look what he's made them. And then everyone's going, he's taken us as far as he can. They're off the tits. And if I hear anyone saying it out loud, they'll be getting told at Ellen Road. I swear to God, they'll be getting told. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but it's insanity.
You might sing it once. You might sing it once, but you're not singing it again, I don't think. And you can make of that what you will, I think. But
I'm invested. I've got a tattoo with the man on my car. And you know what? It's like someone said to me, though, this was the funny bit, because I said I will never, ever, and I mean that. Get relegated, I will never, ever say, get this man out of my club. And I mean that, right? And some guy was going to me, that is idiotic. That's naive. That's this, that's that.
No, it's not.
He said, but he said, though, Oscar, he went, I'm not a Leeds fan, though. I was like, right, okay. I said, who do you support? And he was like, oh, Arsenal. It's like us with Wenger. He should have gone earlier than he did. I gone, hang on a minute. You should have kept Wenger, because you wouldn't be where you are now. So use that as an example. That's not
it's a terrible example. But the thing is, I remember when Gary Mack was in charge, and we lost to Histon and that lot. And I was at MK Dons his last game. There was not one. I think 6,000 of it we took to MK Dons. There was not one fan in that ground who was turning on Gary McAllister, and that's when we were in League One. So we know how much of a legend Gary McAllister is, but Marcelo Bielsa, a similar level of legend. It won't happen. I just don't see a situation this season where a fan base, the Leeds United, where it'll turn into a vocal anything against Bielsa.
No.
I don't think we've got to worry about that for me. I don't think that's a worry to me at all.
Well, yeah. Anyway, Oscar, I'm going to stay with you because we're going to move on to Chelsea Brentford. I want to try to be quick as well because there's a lot of love in the comments for Corey and just how tidy he is, and he's dedicated to the goal.
I'm waiting for West Ham and a Declan Rice master.
He just wants that.
Come on, give me it. Come on.
You go to bed then.
Some people was like, Corey looks wake and baked. But I was like, nah, he's just tired, man. He's just tired. But yeah, Chelsea, Brentford. And the reason I'm going to stay with you, Oscar, is because I remember you last season singing the praises of Mendy, and I was like, nah, give over, man. He's only just come in, and you're giving it all this, and he has turned out to be quite the buy, and he was exceptional against Brentford at the weekend.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he has been all season, you know. He has been all season. I think there was certain games like towards the start of the season, that Villa game that they ended up battering Villa in. But the first half, he's had to make 3 or 4 really good saves, and he's just a superb. I think it's a 96% shot stopping rate or something, save percentage. I think it was Matt Hayes or something like that. I think tweeted that out. So if you're thinking that's crazy, that is crazy numbers. But yeah, Chelsea have dropped off, you know. I know they're still getting the results, but there's been a clear drop-off in Chelsea. I think since that Liverpool game, to be honest, I think they're not playing particularly well. They started the most defensive system going. They had a back 5. They had Jorginho, Kante, Kovacic in midfield. You're thinking, hang on. Loftus-Cheek was in there, wasn't he? I think it might have been Loftus-Cheek for Kante, actually, or Jorginho, whoever it was. It was the defensive team. And you look at it and you think, you're playing a newly promoted team here. I know Brentford are good, but you're thinking you're going that defensive. You're thinking, where's the creativity? I think Werner and Lukaku do look good together, but then you're thinking, where's the creativity around that? Where's a Mason Mount? Where's a Ziyech? Where's a Havertz? You know, can Chelsea play a bit more on the front foot? And I just think if you score first against Chelsea, I think it's a bit like Leeds to an extent last season towards the start. I think Chelsea are in big trouble when they can see first, because then they've got to open up a little bit, and then all of a sudden, you know, your likes of Alonso might have to go into a back 4 and they might get a bit exposed at that point. I just think you look at Chelsea on the naked eye, they are nowhere near as good as Liverpool and City. Nowhere near as good as them. I think defensively, they're probably as good as those two teams, but I just think when they need to score a goal, go a little bit more on the front foot. I just don't think they're as capable of it. I just think they're a counter-attacking team. They're better coached than Man United, but I think they'll find themselves in between kind of your City, Liverpool, and Man United. They'll be if you had to give me one team in this league where I'd have to put my house on where they're going to finish this season, it's Chelsea finishing 3rd for me. I just think that's about right where they're going to be.
It's mad, because we all said Lukaku, he started like a house on fire. We were all saying they're going to win the league,
but he's got no service. You're thinking you've got Lukaku in the team. You're thinking they're just playing him as a target man. You're thinking he's so much more than that now. He's adapted this game massively. You just got to just play everything through him now. You know, a bit like he was at Inter Milan and Belgium and that lot. And you're thinking you can't have Lukaku in against Brentford. All respect to Brentford, but Janssen had Lukaku in his pocket. I watched the second half and I'm thinking Lukaku can't get the ball here. And you're thinking
almost
they're playing
scored
Brentford.
as well, didn't he?
Yeah,
almost
he
scored,
did.
Janssen.
Brentford, I tell you what, just to talk about quick thing on Brentford, they're fair play to them. Whether they can maintain it over a whole season, but I think they'll get enough points on the board where they might drop a little bit second half of the season, but I think they'll have enough points on the board where they'll probably be safe. I just think Tony and Mbuemo.
Of course, man. Look where we are, bro.
They're going
to be safe.
But we're saying that now. But it's only, no, they won't. They won't for me. No, they won't. They won't do a Leeds. They won't finish top 10.
I think they could push top 10. You know,
I don't think.
I think that.
Where's the goals outside of Tony?
Yeah, but Oscar, you look at the games that they play. They target. They've got the set pieces there. They overload the box. They pick certain moments. They're one of the best teams that I've seen in being so compact and hard to break down. And all of a sudden, but that's what I'm saying.
But can you maintain that over a whole season? That's the only thing I'd question. I just think they'll be safe. They're a good team, but I just think there might be a little drop off second part of the season. But they'll have enough points on the board.
People have said the same about us, though.
Yeah, but the thing is with us, We still had Rafinha, Phillips, Meslier. I just don't think, outside of Tony, I don't think there's the stars there kind of thing that can win them a game on their own. You know, as much as we say they play brilliant against Chelsea, they play brilliant against, you know, in other games, they've not necessarily always picked up the points they should have picked up. And I just think that's maybe down to not having enough goals outside of Tony, but they're still a very good team. As much as I hate to say it, Frank has done some job there, you know, to get them as competitive as they are. They've not even spent a lot either, have they?
They do create. They do create. I know what Oscar's saying because it kind of feels like, and even Tony hasn't been prolific, but that goes to show you how they're getting the goals. And it's just Thomas Frank is a tactician. He's fantastic at what he does with that team. He gets it spot on in terms of the system. The only way I think they've come up, and it will take a while for teams to figure them out. I think they'll get figured out eventually, but for now, it's something that we kind of really haven't seen. And they go toe-to-toe. That last 20 minutes against Chelsea was unbelievable from a newly promoted. That was unbelievable. That was ridiculous. They penned them in, they overloaded the box, and then they recovered possession like that. Lukaku was out of the game. They couldn't do anything. They couldn't even break. I haven't seen too many teams be able to do that. And I think for this period of time, let's just play devil's advocate and say they slide down and the performances go down. This first half of the season, it just sets them up nicely anyway. And they've got the recruitment to back it. They'll go and get someone in that no one thinks was any good, and all of a sudden they'll improve. But they impress me, mate. And I think it's only until you play them that you go, oh God, like, I'm telling you, I was like, what is going on here?
Mate. They beat us every day of the week, you know. We just don't do well against Brentford, especially down
when
there.
When do we play them? When do we play them?
I don't even want to think about that stuff. Do you know what? I was going to ask Locks this. But obviously Chilwell was a mainstay sort of last season, played a lot of games, and then come back, new season, not seen. You're thinking, what's going on? And then he's brought him back in at the side, and he's scored 3 goals in 3 games, obviously 2 for Chelsea, 1 for England. Do you think that's like... Do you think there's been some sort of like man management there, Corey, or what? What do you think's been the cracks? It's mad, really, isn't it? He weren't featured at all, and then bam, scores.
Yeah, it's weird because he actually did quite well under Frank Lampard for the first half of the season in a back four. He did create, he did score goals. He was pretty mustard, to be honest. And then obviously when Tuchel come in, it was, well, I've got Alonso here, a wing back that I trust that will get forward, that will create. And Chilwell was kind of in and out, but I just feel since he's come back in, and even for England when he's played at left back, how high he is, how advanced he is, the positions he's picking up, you're getting the best out of him. He's got a wand of a left foot on him. Like that finish against Brentford was tasty. So I don't know. It's interesting with Tuchel taking him out and putting him back in, but knowing Tuchel, it would probably just have been a tactical thing. I mean, look at Ruben Loftus-Cheek. It's the same. He's had him in the team. He's had him training with him. He's only brought him back now. So yeah, it's weird. It is weird, but I suppose you've got to give Chilwell some credit, actually, because at the minute, he's been very consistent and very good.
Oh, what a bad time for me to come in.
I was just going to say, look,
Sorry, mate.
I was saving this one for you, just saying how, like, Chilwell's been brought back into the side and he's got himself 3-3 now for club and country.
Yeah, I prefer Marcus Alonso, mate. Yeah, Marcus Alonso.
Come on.
Mate. Obviously, he's...
The one thing you don't want, Marcus Alonso is a left wing back. The one thing you don't want him to do is defend. Have to defend at any time in any game.
Mate, Chilwell's not great, mate. Chilwell's not great at defending. Not at all.
He's better than
not
Alonso.
having it.
Come on.
I'm not having it, mate. I'm not having
Yes.
it. Mate, yeah, maybe better than Alonso, but yeah, he's he's I thought he would have a better start to his. I mean, he had a good start, obviously, with Frank Lampard at the start of last season. He had a decent start. Obviously, since Tuchel's come in, he's kind of not played too many minutes. He's obviously going to have a good career. Ben Chilwell. I don't see him. I never saw him having like a Danny Drinkwater kind of career where obviously goes to a bigger club and then just I don't know where he is now. I think he's playing in Turkey or something now. Danny Drinkwater.
Mad.
Oh, is he at Reading now?
Wow.
Yeah, I think he's going to continue to be in that England squad. He's going to challenge. I mean, Marcus Alonso isn't getting any younger, so I think he will be in that Chelsea team for years to come. But yeah, he's still not the £50 million player in my eyes that they bought. So yeah, let's move on.
Do you think
Not bad.
someone asked the question earlier on Lock, so I'll ask you all this. Mark Campbell asked, is Mendy looking like the best goalie in the Prem?
No.
No.
Yeah, he's in a minute after 7 or 8 games.
Alisson, do we reckon? Alisson, Edison?
Alisson and Edison are still. It's what they can do with the ball at the feet as well. It's just you can't press them. You can't. And the goalkeepers, you're thinking they're better on the ball than probably. I would say Edison could play centre mid for any team outside the top 6 in this league. I genuinely do think he's got the. I genuinely do think.
Clips, man.
Watch him.
We haven't seen him on the ball, mate. We can see him ping a pass, but when he's under pressure,
he's nice. He's unreal. Him and Alisson so far ahead of the other keepers. But Mendy and your Martinez is very, very good, but not quite at that level for me yet. And your Melies as well.
Yeah, don't forget to get him in there. Right, let's move on to Sunday. Corey, it's your moment, mate. You can look wide-eyed now. West Ham. Yeah, another win on the road, and Rice or Bonner all had great games,
mate. It was do you know what? Actually, it's the best I've seen West Ham in possession probably since Moyes has come in for the first 20-25. Like, sometimes it's frustrating because you're like, okay, I get it. Just play through the lines at once. But the intensity, the way that we were keeping the ball, how calm we were. We went back to Declan Rice being the number 6 and Souček being the number 8, and the dynamic works spot on. And the thing is with Dec, he can play that role so well. And every time Everton tried to come out at us, he's there. He's read it already. Johnson had to come in at right back. Soufal's been injured. Didn't put a foot wrong. Could have gone wrong against Townsend or a Damari Gray. But to be fair to him, one-on-one, he was spot on. And it was actually quite frustrating because we had chances. But in terms of the quality of the chances, they weren't where I would expect it for West Ham to be at. And that was the only thing where I was like, come on, the longer this game goes on, and Everton started to counter and they started to commit men at times, and I thought, we could get caught out here. So people talk about Bonner and Zuma having a good game, but there was a point in that first half where I thought they're getting beat for pace, they're getting pulled out of position, just the way we were playing. But second half, again, it's different. I always say it, but the difference in this West Ham team is that we'll just keep going and going and going. We got the fullbacks a little bit further forward, got a corner. The delivery is disgusting from Jarrod Bowen and the header's unbelievable. And that's it. Yeah. And after that, unfortunately, I think it was Souček went off, nearly got his eye taken out. And that completely, I think, changed the way that we wanted to control it. Because up to that point, it was probably the moment I was thinking, hang on a minute, West Ham are actually going to control the game and see it out to the end, even though we're not going to score. And then we had to put Lanzini on and we went a back 3 and a back 5. And it was a bit jittery, but it's a huge win. It's a massive win. And I know people will say it's only 8 games gone, but Everton away, we always struggle against. First time he's beaten Benitez since 2006. And now we go against Tottenham on Sunday with our tails up. And that's looking a good game. But I've got to say, Declan Rice, I've done a video on my channel. He's absolutely unbelievable. Some of the stats coming out this season. More carries into the final third. He's dribbling past players. He can deal with pressure incredibly well. His pressures in the midfield are better than they've been previously, and he's playing higher up. Just spot on, mate. He's the most well-rounded DM in the league for me. It's just different gear.
But is he the best all-round midfielder? Like in terms of not necessarily scoring, creating. I'm not comparing him to De Bruyne or Silva. Just in terms of doing the dirty work and being just great on the ball. Is he the most reliable at the minute?
Yeah, not as good. Can't ping a ball at Edison. That's the only thing.
Oh, I tell you what. When Pep does that in an FA Cup tie, which I can see it happening, then that'd
be a brilliant double pivot. I'd love Edison right next to Declan Rice. That's the balance that I want from him. Nah, do you know what? In fairness to him, I think that's the thing with me. Defensively, I've always thought he's been a centre back, hasn't he? So those attributes have always been there in terms of reading the game. But the fact that I said now he's doing it further up the pitch where there is more risk involved. And how I think a lot of people are perceiving him now is the way he's carrying the ball. And he's kind of had that in his locker, but he's doing it more frequently and he's doing it more successfully. And it's just, he's getting that balance now for me where he's versatile. If he wants to go and press up or carry the ball, he can help out with the counters. If we need to sit in the 6 and protect the centre-backs, he can do that. But he's just he's just at a different level for me that I've seen. And every time I talk about him, people must think, just shut up, mate. You just bang on about him all the time. But
I get it, man.
it's just
I love him as well, bro.
He comes out this season, and I'm like, oh yeah, he was good last season, but you just don't expect the level to go up and up and up. And I'm thinking, where does it stop? Because if he starts adding 5 goals to his game, then there's no question mark for me in terms of what he can do. It's not creative, but do you want it?
I can't think of a team in genuinely now. This isn't one of my crazy claims. I can't think of a team in Europe where they wouldn't have Declan Rice starting if he was in their squad. I can't think of one. Even City, he would start for me over Rodri.
I've heard City are talking about him as a long-term replacement for Fernandinho, and I've thought for a while actually that Declan Rice would be unreal at Manchester City with the way that they play. And just in terms of, and I hate talking like this because you never want him to go, don't get me wrong, but you kind of have to play around with the idea. The progression that he'd have under Pep, I think he's more mobile than Rodri is. I think he can do more. I think he can carry the ball better. And you are right, Oscar. I think there's a lot of teams out there that would take him. It's just, the more he plays like this, the further his price tag goes up because he's answering all the questions that have been asked of him.
Is there any worries he goes in January, Corey, or are you thinking definitely till end of the season?
He won't go. The thing with Deck as well, I actually think for West Ham, when he does leave, which I feel he probably will either next season, I can't see him staying past that. The drop-off for us is huge because he's getting to that level now where you take him out and it's like the whole team sort of doesn't fall apart but has to get together. But I think with the way that we're playing this season, and I think people from the outside are probably impressed with, again, unbeaten in Europe so far, some decent performances, going in the Carabao Cup at least, well in the Premier League. There's a part of me that thinks if West Ham can push top 6 or pull it off, and I don't know how because I wouldn't have anticipated we could do, he might go maybe. If we could get to a Europa League final or semi, he might go possibly. But again, if a big club comes in and they come in with the 80 or 90 mil that we're after, basically, then we'll see what happens. Then he's
still only 22, isn't he? As well, he's only 22, which is mad as well. He looks about 30, but he is only 22, isn't he?
Yeah, and that's the thing. He started when he was 17, 18. It's funny you say that because I saw him come on at Old Trafford and he was only young, and even then the maturity that you could tell he has a real mature head on his shoulders. And to be 22 as well and captain that West Ham team with some senior players in there, testament to him, mate. But that's my little soliloquy on Declan Rice, mate.
Yeah.
Unreal, mate.
Soliloquy, what a word. Go on, mate.
No, I banged it out even though I'm not going to just pass out in a minute.
Soliloquy. So love that. Right, we've had a super chat in from Pete as well. Pete Benson. Thank you very much for the super chat, brother. Locks, he says, who will be the next manager sacked? Let's hear it.
Bielsa. No, I'm joking. I don't know, man. It's a tough one, part. Well, easy money's on Steve Bruce, isn't it, really? But if we're going on...
you're not allowed Steve Bruce. You're not allowed Steve Bruce.
Not allowed Steve Bruce?
No, that's a good point. We can all go for that, can't we?
Yeah. You know what, mate? I'm going Ranieri. I love Ranieri. This isn't a Ben Chilwell, Harry Maguire, Riyad Mahrez rant. I love Ranieri, but I just see it happening, before too long. But maybe 10 games, mate. I'll give him 10 games, 10 more games.
Okay, Corey.
Yeah, he's nicked my one.
You can have Sim.
Yeah, I'll go Ranieri. I can't see it going past 2 months if I'm honest. If he's lucky, maybe 3 or 4, but not at Watford, mate.
Oscar.
I don't think there's going to be that many managers sacked. When we just looking at the table, just purely looking at the table, I didn't realise Villa were that low. I'm gonna go for it and say Dean Smith. I've got a feeling that I don't think they should do that, but I think that Villa boards will be a little bit impatient. It's the money they spent. I think Dean Smith, if they do stay around where they are, so I'll go Dean Smith, but it'll be a while off yet.
I'm gonna go Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I think he
get him out.
No, I don't. I keep I keep him there, but I'm just looking at the teams in the division. Like someone said, Farker. Norwich won't do that.
I love him, mate. They'd get relegated twice again, and he'd still be there, wouldn't he?
I don't get it though. Like they never ever look good at this level, but they still stick with him. I don't know. It's but I don't think they'll get rid of him either. I think Farker is probably one of the more likely managers to see the whole season, to be honest. And it seems mad, but they will.
Dean Smith maybe, but again, just because of the fixtures.
You know what? I'm just looking at that score now. Palace have equalised, haven't they, against Arsenal? I think
he won't go.
Maybe even Arteta.
He won't go. They're too invested, I think.
You know what? Actually, I'll go Nuno.
Oh.
I'll go Nuno. I'm going to change my answer to Nuno. But it'll still be a while. It'll still be a while off.
Yeah.
But I'll go Nuno.
I think you're right, though, Oscar, when you said like not many will get sacked. And if you think about it everywhere, probably not. You're probably
There's
right.
not many bad managers.
No.
There's not many bad managers in the league, other than Solskjaer, Farker, and a couple of other ones. There's only about 3 or 4 managers where you think, how on earth have they got that job? I think the quality of manager, I think, is very, very high now in the Prem.
Yeah, for sure. Right, last game, guys, and then we're done. Corey can go get some shut time, man.
I'm never going to live this down, mate. Honestly, this is
it's all right, bro. Thank you for coming, man. Corey never lets me down. You know, Locks goes out on holiday. Oscar goes to London, gallivanting.
Oh, you were supposed to come to London as well, to be fair.
I'd have still done the show. I'd have still done it.
The show started at 8. I would have genuinely done it if the show was like done by 8.
I'm joking. Don't be daft.
Okay.
I'm joking. Right.
Well, you know, I don't know if you were though.
He's putting me
Newcastle
with
told me
Locks.
what start it was for Newcastle. What you say, Corey?
I said he put him in with Locks, and Oscar's fuming. He's not
I'm
having
fuming
it.
with that.
Yeah,
I'm not having that. I'm not having that comparison.
Definitely not. Newcastle. So fantastic start for Newcastle, obviously, with their new ownership. Amanda Staveley looks like a robot, by the way. She looks like a cyborg.
Do you know how different she looks from about 5 years ago? Has anyone seen it? It's
it's mad.
I'm like,
It's
what?
mad.
Crazy, bro. You need
What's
to go.
that?
She looks completely. Well, she's obviously the same, but I don't know how much work she's had done or whatever, but she doesn't even look the same person, mate.
Really, madness. She probably is a cyborg then. Do you know what I mean? Maybe she's. She looks like you, bro. Though, like something like that, man. It's a madness. She shouldn't really do that, though. Really, I'm sorry, but I'm just saying she does look like an evil villain. But yeah, it was a great start for them. Callum Wilson.
I mean, because we're all oil paintings here, right? Aren't we? We're all oil paintings, aren't we, us lads?
I've been told I look like what's his face, Timu Pukki, so I can't say anything. Timu Pukki looks like a zombie, and I look like him apparently. So like, it's not good. Kane scoring goals again, decent finish as well, and Ndombele. So. Corey, I'll come to you because obviously you've got them at the weekend, big London derby.
I hate him, mate. I can't wait, honestly.
The fact that Kane scored, though, he's brought that duck. What are you thinking?
It pains me to say, I know it is only Newcastle, so sort of keep your head on a little bit, but they did look really good in some of them goals, if I'm honest. I think Kane's movement for the goals, his positioning was a lot better, and probably exactly where it needs to be. I thought they got the double pivot right in Højbjerg and Skip. There was more balance there. They could get Reggie on. He had the freedom of St. James's Park against Saint-Maximin, to be honest. So Nuno got it actually spot on. And when Spurs get on the ball, and again, this is the thing. You look at teams like Spurs and you say they're well off it. But when they're on it, Ndombele, Son, Lucas Moura, they got fantastic. But I mean, Ndombele was fantastic. So it's almost like when they get it together and they click, it's a problem. And they just clicked against Newcastle. Only thing I'd say about Newcastle was defensively, well, in terms of their press, it was non-existent. So if you look at one of the goals, he's literally been able to just clip it over the top Højbjerg. There's no pressure whatsoever. And their defensive line's so high up for Newcastle, just doesn't make any sense to me at all. So they kind of gifted them it, but I always say you can only play what's in front of you. And we'll see. I think Sunday's a test for Spurs to see how good they think they are and where West Ham are at, because we're going to be a lot tougher than that. They're not going to be able to do that. Touch with before I get clipped up.
Corey's fighting talk.
No, I'm going to get clipped up with Kane running off Bonner. Like, no. It's gonna
I like West Ham, man. It's only because of you, though. I think that I'll actually like them now. So.
Don't like them at all, otherwise. Stupid bubbles. What's that all about?
You get a result, mate, because like I say, it'd be fun, Locks, to see. I know you hate Spurs, don't you, mate? So it'd be fun to see the meltdown, especially of our friend Elena, tagging Harry Kane in tweets, telling him he's garbage and that.
gone very quiet, isn't it, on that front after
Very,
Sunday?
yeah, very, very quiet yesterday evening. Very quiet. I think the posters were going back up on the wall actually, but no, it's I saw Newcastle getting. I didn't think they'd start the game as well as they did. Obviously, it was a great start for them, but they were always going to get beat in my eyes. I think obviously there's been a lot of hype and a lot of excitement, but obviously they were just brought back down to earth. It's not going to be. I said it a few weeks ago. It's not going to be a quick fix. It's going to take a long time for them to kind of be able to compete with teams like Tottenham. But yeah, I think Tottenham, that they played well, as Corey said, in some of the goals. Newcastle obviously made it easy for them at times, but they looked all right. I don't think Nuno will lose his job, like Oscar predicts. I think he will see it out to the end of the season. I think they'll pick up enough points. But yeah, man, I really, really want West Ham to do them. I really want West Ham to do them.
Can you imagine how beautiful that'd be? Imagine it.
Oh,
imagine
mate,
it.
I think me and Corey will be right on Twitter, won't we, mate?
We'll do a Twitter space, mate. Don't worry.
Yeah, do a Twitter space, please do.
Get involved, lads.
Have you ever done one of those? I've never done one. I've seen them. I thought,
the only one I ever went on was Elena's one, and it had me in fits, mate. It was the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Was that the one Locke's got blocks from?
Yeah, that one.
Mate, I went on, right? Elena, they were just chatting, Oscar. They were just chatting, and then someone went, "Oh, Josie, let Joe chat." And I just said, "Elena, the disrespect you're showing Harry Kane is up." And then it just went boom, and people were coming in, and she was going, "No, fuck off," and turning them off. There's
a bit where Joe it went sort of silent, and Joe put his speaker on and went, "Jose Mourinho," and then turned it straight back off. And then she just went crazy again. I was like, mate, it was such a wind up, man. It was hilarious.
No, in all seriousness though, Spurs, what, they Spurs about 5th now or 6th?
5th, yeah, 5th.
I said Nuno, but I don't think Nuno should be sacked. I think actually when you look at the players they've got, you're always going to be limited. The greatest respect to Eric Dyer. When Eric Dyer's doing what he did on that second goal, and you've got Emerson Real at right back, and Lloris isn't the most solid of goalkeepers, you're always going to be a bit limited. They're not going to finish in the top 4 under any manager until they. So I think Nuno's actually done all right so far. I think if he can win a trophy, a cup or this Conference League, and get him into like the top 5 or 6, I think he's done all right with that squad. To be quite honest with you, it's not the best football to watch, but you know what? He's doing all right for me. I think he's actually probably done better than Mourinho has so far, and we know Mourinho's not become a bad manager.
Did you see the stats on like goals scored in the first 8 games or something? Mourinho was up last season, above all of Pochettino's seasons, and obviously Nuno this year as well. It just made me laugh because obviously one of the big arguments from a lot of Tottenham fans last season was the intensity going forward. I've heard a lot of people talk about, but I don't know. I think Jose should still be in charge of that club.
How can you?
Oh, come on, bro.
You've got Eric Dyer, right? You've got Eric Dyer. No disrespect to Ollie Skip. You can't exactly play expansively when you've got no back 4. I don't see what. I personally don't see what Tottenham. I understand why they turn on Daniel Levy, but I don't really know what they expect. How they expect Mourinho and Nuno to make anything more of what they've got. Pochettino was a one-off. Unfortunately, that might be what we find with Bielsa at least. It might be what Locks finds with Rodgers. It might be what Corey finds with Moyes. It might just be what happens. We can all respect that the managers we've got have got us all batting above our average, compared to what the other teams have got. So I just think that was what Pochettino massively raised the expectation. But Tottenham have never. When's the last time Tottenham have really been a top team? Really, a top team. So I don't know why there's big expectation on Nuno. I think if he gets them competitive, I think he's done a decent job for me. But I just think Daniel Levy be under that much pressure. And just to go on to Newcastle, Steve Bruce, as Corey was saying, that how high that line was against Son and Lucas Moura.
Mad, mate.
I just think Steve Bruce, he bowed to the pressure, I think, of the fans wanting him to play a bit more on the front foot. And you're thinking, no, just stick to what you're good at or relatively good at. Play on the counter with Saint-Maximin and Wilson and just try and beat Tottenham that way. But no, he gave in, I think. And I think, to be honest, it was a bit of weak management off Steve Bruce, to be honest.
Yeah, I think
Wow.
maybe you're right, Oscar. Was it a case of him trying to say to the powers that be,
Yeah.
Edouard scored Elise.
Oh,
get
Blimey.
in, didn't he?
Blimey.
in there.
Tell you what. Well, that's Palace off that discussion thing about the potential teams to go down. Then I think.
Yeah, exactly. So there's just us and Burnley left now. I think, mate, we're screwed. Nah, fair. Right, listen, guys, it's been a great first show. Really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for those that have watched. Really enjoyed doing it, and it will continue as long as the lads will remain, showing up. Apart from Locks, maybe he'll drop out next week. Or...
I'm on holiday next week, mate. Yeah.
So what's that holiday number 4 now?
No, I'm joking.
Are we all back for Thursday?
No, I've got Europa, mate. Unfortunately, I've got to go up to
the.
Yeah.
Where are you, Locks? See, Locks don't even know when Leicester are playing.
Nah, mate, it's a farce. We play 3:30 on Wednesday afternoon.
Oh my God!
Why?
Embarrassing.
What?
It's in Moscow.
At home?
It's in Moscow, mate.
Oh, wait. Are you not going?
Still. No, mate. Not Moscow. Didn't fancy that one. Warsaw was enough, mate. No. But mate, 3:30.
You'll be going to Naples, though, won't you? You'll be going to Naples away.
December the 7th, mate.
Can I tell you what? You are brave if you go to that game.
Mate, fingers crossed. I'll be there. Fingers crossed.
Brave
Russia
man.
Worst, man. Russia worst.
Oh, I don't know. After what happened, Naples is bad. I'll tell you, Naples is. In terms of European game away, I've not been to as an away fan to there, but Naples is bad. Yeah.
There was the Maradona
Poland
chance.
and like Russia and that would have been worse.
I've never been to either, so I don't know.
No.
Naples have
nutters,
seen.
Poland. I mean, Poland was calm, mate. Yeah, Poland was fine. But
yeah.
I do see what Oscar's saying. Naples is probably. It was very fiery there. Yeah, the KP.
But
that night.
Yeah, if it kicks off there, they won't forget about that. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lachlan front and centre like that. Come on.
Yeah. Can you imagine him with a blue flare as well near the front?
Fishbowl in one hand,
flare in the other.
Oh look, just while we're on, our good friend Elena has actually just started a Twitter space. So it might be. Let's have a look what's getting discussed on that. Football and other things. We might have to pop on there, guys. If you're on Twitter, have a look.
Let's go.
Just go in. Just go in. Kane's better than Son, and just leave and just let the whole thing just kick off. Let it all kick.
I just wish you could type rather than having to speak.
Just
type. Do you know what I mean? Like just put Kane, yes. So there you go. I might actually pop on after this.
Just get some Martin Tyler commentary. So like Kane and all that, just play that in there. It's Harry Kane.
He's back. Yeah, that'd be class.
No, he's done it again. He's done it again.
The Harry Kane. Right, great stuff. So we'll be back on Thursday. Corey, you're not here. I'll get another guest to drop in for that. Locks, you here, yeah?
Yeah, mate.
Good. We'll be back for that. I've got a new show premiering on Wednesday as well. The midweek fix, which is going to be me and another Leeds fan of the female variety, just to mix it up a little bit. And then I'll have like my post pre-match and all that stuff coming out as well. Oscar, what's going down on ALTV?
So we're going to do our All These TV Q&A tomorrow, where people just send in some questions. We'll discuss it, probably about how bad we were against Southampton. Was it the worst Leeds performance of all time? I don't know. It'd be up there. But Wednesday, just be our usual previews. Thursday, got an opposition fan preview with some fantastic Wolves fans. Friday, Phil and Martin be doing big match. And then Saturday, your usual post-match content for you guys. Anyway, I don't know if we'll have a watch-along this week. I think everyone from All These TV, is at the game on Saturday. So probably not, to be fair. So
Decent turnout, mate. Decent turnout. I will see you there. I will see you at Ellen Road on Saturday, brother. Locks, what's going on Locks in the Box?
Not much in a minute, mate, because I've been on holiday. But there will be something. Yeah, there will be something coming out this week.
No. Mate, you should just vlog, man. The amount of places you go, you should just vlog.
Yeah. You should start a travel. You should start a travel agent. You should become a travel agent.
Yeah, good.
Man, you should vlog it. I think Lee Gunner vlogs his holidays and that now. Or he lives in Spain, doesn't he? Give it a go, man.
Maybe we'll see. We'll stick with the one video a fortnight for now. But we said, Joe, we're gonna do something. We'll do something soon. So I'll
where's my invite, Locks? You know, I think you've had Corey on. Now you're talking about having Joe on. You probably have Hal on before me. You probably have Hal on before me.
We did actually spending time with pros these days.
Can I just say, I had the pleasure of meeting Mr. Hal Stewart.
Oh yeah,
on Thursday.
In the flesh.
It did.
They won 2, didn't they, man?
He did. Legend of a man. I did congratulate him.
He got to best new content creator, and I didn't even get bronze. I switched it off.
Well, you know, none of us did. None of us got bronze, did we? It was.
Curtis Shaw's been going about 5 years as well, so I don't know how he warrants being a new. I'm not salty.
Let it go, mate. Let it go.
Joe's been shooing on that since Thursday. Then that's what we can say.
Nah, it's good. It was good, man. It looked a good do, mate. Corey, West Ham way, what's going down?
I'm gonna do a pre-match probably tomorrow for Genk. Look, I love being in Europa League, but trying to do a pre-match on a team you've never seen in your life is a bit weird. But then they'll try and do a post-match, and then obviously we've got the big one on Sunday against Tottenham Hotspur. So I'm going to probably try and see if I can find a Tottenham fan. I'll probably end up doing the rounds anyway on a few of their channels, and hopefully, fingers crossed, I come home. Got Tappin's hopes. He'll be at my throat, mate. He hates West Ham. I hate Tottenham. Wednesday's going to be tasty, by the way, on Matisse's channel. By the way, I'm not.
Mate, if you're winning at half time, he'll leave, won't he? You know what I mean?
He leaves on the 44th minute. Yeah. So but fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed we get the win and I can have a lovely little post match, because that's what it means, mate. That's what it means.
Good luck, mate. Good luck. We need all the luck we can get, but I'm just worried. Anyway, we'll leave it there. Thank you as always for watching. I'll see you Wednesday, and then we'll see you back here on Thursday for Before the Whistle Blows Live as well. So keep it locked at Just Joe. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you in a bit. Peace out. Leeds.